Let's call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Nyla Fry.
Here.
Trisha Brown.
Here.
Sam Kaufman.
Here.
Kristen Runge.
Here.
Aaron Moran.
Here.
Joel Zitzelsberger.
Here.
And Robert McPherson.
Here.
Next item is roll call, or excuse me, confirmation of open meeting compliance.
I can confirm that the draft agenda was published in the Waunakee Tribune on 2/16. The final agenda was posted in all three official posting locations on 2/14 and 2/15. And the final agenda and packet were made available online on 2/14. Also, two important things for the audience. Please be sure you sign in on the sign-in sheet with your name, address, and municipality for accurate record keeping. And those interested in public comment, just please provide the form to me prior to the agenda item.
And do we have anyone that would like to make a public comment?
I have no forms.
No forms? Anyone in the audience? No? Anyone online?
No.
No public comments tonight. All right, next item on the agenda is consent agenda. Does anybody have anything that they would like removed?
Number 3, please.
Number 3?
Number 5.
Number 5. All right. So do we have a move to approve items 1, 2, and 4 on the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and Nyla, you said 3?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to,
Mike.
Oh, Mike.
thank you. I would just like Bill, because he's the streets person, if the utility, if Tim was here, I'd have him tell me, but as long as you're here, hopefully you can assure me. What I want is to be assured that if we provide this easement, that in the future, it will not complicate things or create problems in any way.
If I'm remembering this right, that's the Rip Park easement going to the water tower or Easy Street. Oh, yes. No, that shouldn't compromise anything there. That's just to allow them to get to their substation.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So then can I go approve and go ahead and make the motion?
Robert's next, or,
Oh, on that easement?
pardon? A motion on, yeah. All right.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Brian is nodding yes.
I would like to move that we approve the easement with Spectrum Mid-American at the North Substation.
Second, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, Robert?
Yes, so I had a few members of the public reach out on this one, and while I'm not objecting to doing the payout, I just want to make sure that since this is outside of, well, it wasn't, I shouldn't say outside of policy, it was never contemplated in policy. Are we making changes to the policy to make sure that in the future that all requests like this are treated the same, or is this a one-time?
So oh, sorry, I gotta get the right camera there. Okay, so if I'm understanding the question correctly, it's, are we gonna be updating the policy to contemplate this scenario, or is this a one-time deal? I don't anticipate that we would put this explicitly in the employee handbook. I mean, we might, but I mean, a situation like this is so exceptionally rare. I mean, you're talking about a situation where someone's going from a fully benefit eligible to such a part-time position to the point where they're considered casual part-time, which means they receive no benefits whatsoever. I mean, it's happened one other time that I'm aware of. You know, so we could put it in policy, but this is a very rare circumstance.
Okay. It would be nice to see it in policy, just even if it is a rare circumstance, just because I don't think it rises to the level of the village board, even as a consent item that we should have to approve every time somebody does something like this. If it was in policy, I assume we wouldn't have to have this discussion.
Yeah, so, and just to clarify why it's before the board tonight, is this is typically something that would simply be made at a decision that would be made at the administrative level. However, you know, I looked at our municipal code and the village administrator does not explicitly have the authority to make that decision, even though it is certainly something that would normally fall under the purview of that position. So we felt it was just simplest and cleanest to get clear thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, I understand that. I mean, and I'm not opposed to it. I mean, there's nothing in here that's disagreeable. It's more along the lines of, I just don't want somebody in the future, since we're talking about, presumably this is somebody that's a union employee and we have non-unionized staff. And if someone who's non-unionized or is unionized in the future somehow falls in the same situation, I'm just trying to help future village deal with something. So that's all. I'll make the motion to approve the payout of all unused vacation leave for Officer Benjamin Gerber.
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. All right, next up, reports. Create Waunakee Committee.
I guess I need to put on my jacket for this one. Not my jacket on loan. So on Saturday was the Ball of Creativity where we saw Todd Schmidt wearing this lovely branded jacket that I'm now honored to wear for the next minute. The ball went really well. So the ball was a kickoff fundraiser for Create Waunakee Inc., our nonprofit partner. And the lead volunteer team did an incredible job soliciting sponsorships and just thinking of every little thing for a first year event of this size. It was amazing. There was all kinds of entertainment from dancing, performance, martial arts, musicians. There was creative dog groomers there with some cute dogs. So just a huge thank you to everyone that attended and made it possible. I'm not sure if they have the number that was raised or if
I
it would
can-
be appropriate to share at this
I-
moment.
Yeah, I can, do you know it? I can reveal it if you don't.
I don't want to be wrong.
$68,500.
Wow.
That's minus expenses. Net.
That's more than I thought. So that would be a good way to be wrong.
And we've talked about the goal of this work being sustained with a trajectory towards additional staff for Create Waunakee Inc. dedicated to this purpose and or bricks and mortar location to be the hub for this work. So great, amazing first step towards working towards those goals.
Yeah, it was incredible. So yeah, just a huge thank you to everyone that made that possible. The amount of sponsorships in various ways was amazing, down to the cleaning services, all Piggly Wiggly donated all the food. It was incredible. So exciting things. But that's all for Create Waunakee.
All right, it sure was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Excellent. EMS Commission, Robert.
Less exciting. I don't get an awesome coat to wear while I do this. We are. They'll make me volunteer over there. The annual audits coming up for EMS, which is done jointly with the village. So looking forward to that. It's not that exciting, but the other part that is exciting, we did vote to engage in a study with the Wisconsin Policy Forum about the potential for combining services for EMS with the Middleton EMS district. Two items to note from this. One, before anybody runs with this, it is just a study. It's not going to, we don't know if it's going to say we should combine or not combine. It's very possible it says that we should not combine with the other district. And we're hoping though that we would get feedback on it just in general for helping the district run better. The other part of this, as far as the cost, we are splitting this with Middleton 50-50. So it's $10,000 to the district. That being said, we made a good change at the end of last year with our banking services over there. They were getting very little on their operating fund, which is they keep about $1 million in the bank. So now they're getting a good, it's called the local government investment pool rate, which if you know anything about finance, it's about 5.5% right now. So it turns out the interest we're getting from that is actually going to pay for the study. So none of the other municipalities had any issue with that once they saw that, hey, it's not extra to them. So we're looking forward to that process going through. And then just for everybody's awareness, every village emergency service, so fire, EMS and police department were recertified for CPR last month.
Fantastic. Lots of good things happening. Plan Commission, I'll give the Plan Commission report. We had two public hearings, one on a certified survey map and another a request to rezone. We entertained a request from a business to install a gravel parking lot and turned that down. And then discussed and took action on a certified map and amendment for a condominium, business condominium rezoning and a moving of a lot line. We talked about the site plan for the Centennial Park splash pad, and that was an item for final action. We discussed taking action on a possible amendment to the village code for larger retail, and the Plan Commission decided to pass on that. We did discuss and take action on the possible creation of a new zoning classification by directing staff to look into an I3 classification, what that might involve, even though we don't have a specific place where we would be using that classification right now for zoning. Next up, go ahead.
Can
Did
I
have
just
something?
quick check on that regarding the item about big box store size? I believe the commission asked us to bring some more information
Yeah.
back. I don't think it was a pass or a no, but a request for some additional research. Is that
That's more,
that's
that's
right?
more accurate than what I said, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
If I may, could we also
Yes.
clarify on the gravel one?
Yes.
I think we didn't turn it down. It's coming back another time, if I recall.
It was an incomplete submission.
Yeah.
But we had already noticed the public hearing, so we held the public
Yep.
hearing, but deferred any action.
Okay.
Thank you. My notes are not great, as I'm realizing right now. All right, next up, Joint Plan Commission. And is that,
I guess that's me.
yeah,
So we had 3 items on the agenda. 2 were from the previous night's plan commission. And 1 was from the town of Westport for the Yaharis Estates plat, which was conditionally approved. We also had a discussion with no action on a request for the Woodland Crest Outlot 2 submission, and conditionally approved CSM rezone and a resolution to vacate a portion of Dolan Avenue to transfer lands, which was something that was also conditionally approved by our plan commission.
excellent. Thank you. And then Library Board.
Yeah, the winter reading program just wrapped up, but there's ongoing programs, just reading some of them. Starting to schedule more for the spring. Things like getting started with backyard chickens. And they'll be at the April Wellness Series, are doing events there. Biggest things, the library hosted the Great Waunakee Gala, and that went smoothly. From the library's end, and they just installed an overdose aid kit in History Hall near the defibrillator. So that was from a grant through Safe Communities, Madison, Dane County. And it includes information on how to administer Narcan and breathing masks and other opioid resources for those impacted. So, and the staff all were trained on how to use it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. On to business items. First item, discuss and take action on ARPA funding request for the food pantry items that were listed in the agenda. That's page 58 if you're following along on your packet. And Todd, are you presenting this?
Yeah, I can present briefly, and we do have representation from the food pantry here tonight. If there's questions, this came up at a request from the village board. I know Nyla mentioned it when we were talking about some of our ARPA balances in the past, was to approach both the food pantry and WNC to inquire if there's particular needs that our remaining balance of ARPA funds could potentially help support in its final year of balance on the books. And while we have discussed other purposes for those funds, I think that's a very reasonable request to go to those organizations. I did approach the food pantry with that question, and in your packet is a list of around $15,000 worth of specific items. They're listed there in your packet. Staff supports the idea of using ARPA funds to further assist the food pantry. We do sit on a balance undesignated of about $70,000 currently. one thought from a staff perspective, you may wish to do in a way to maybe harness other donor potential is to consider whether any of these items you might want to partially fund, essentially in a challenge way, to be harnessed to support other donations. But no qualms on staff's end if you care to fully fund these items. So that's what's before you tonight.
All right. And discussion. So Nyla.
The food pantry is, the needs in the community are growing quicker than I'm sure they can obtain funds. During COVID, things were extremely difficult for a lot of people. And I see the ARPA funds being used for the food pantry as one of the basic reasons we received ARPA funds. And it's one way, one of the best ways I see to use funds such as this. So even though they've received $1,800 toward the freezer, I know that if we fully funded the freezer, the funds that the $1,800 that was donated could be used in other ways. So my suggestion is that we totally fund their list at $16,175. It isn't often that the village has funds that are available to do this type of funding, and the need just keeps growing. And so that's where I'm at. Thanks.
Thanks. And let's ping pong. Robert, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, since the food pantry's here, could you maybe quickly tell us just what's like the priority order from the list that's on here? Like greatest need to.
And once you get to the podium, if you press the button, the mic will turn green.
So we prioritized, the first need was the freezer because we ran out of freezer space. So we were actually storing some of our product over at the Heritage School because we ran out of space. So we had to make that a priority. We raised 1,800 from a couple local committees. And then the next is the refrigerator. So we're running into the same issue there. We don't have the luxury of a walk-in cooler of any sort. So we have these standalone commercial refrigerators and freezers. So that is our first priority. We are using a residential vacuum cleaner about this big to do 2,500 square feet. And so we need, the next priority would be our vacuum cleaner. Currently we're renting a floor cleaner to clean our floors. So that would be next. So freezer, refrigerator, commercial vacuum, shelving units, and then the trailer would be our last option. So we go once a month to pick up food. We have to buy food every month, around 4,500 a month. So a lot of our donations go to get the food on the shelves because of the, increase in clients. So we feel we're currently using our personal trailer, which is an open trailer. But if it rains, it snows or anything, we have one day to go to Circo to get our product. So we need an enclosed trailer that we can put our product in. Sometimes it's 2 pallets of food, sometimes it's 3. And we're just fudging through this. We're getting a trailer here, a trailer there, we're getting pickups. So that's another one of our needs right now, because we really need to support the food product in the pantry first and foremost to get the food on the shelves. These are extra things we need, so that's why they're on the list. So we appreciate anything we can get.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions, Robert?
No, thank
All
you.
right. Trisha.
No, I'm glad Robert asked the question as well. And I see there and agree. Some of these would be immediate, almost more critical needs. But I think in some of maybe the smaller items, having it be a little bit more of a challenge or even just promotion, like the trailer is a place where if someone donates it, they could maybe put donated by or use that opportunity to not just promote the food pantry, but also their contribution to it. But in general, I'm good with figuring out something.
Great. Joe.
The remaining ARPA funds have to be actually used by the end of this year. Is that accurate?
They have to be used or encumbered, meaning like we'd have to have, in this case, they would have to be used. But if we sign a contract, say for the fire district study, if for some reason that was delayed into 2025, as long as we had already entered into a contract for it, we're okay with that. But like most of it generally has to be spent or contracted for
Okay, by December
by
31st.
December 31st.
Okay.
24.
And then another question, I guess, for the food pantry then. As far as all of these items go, are they all things that I guess would meet that probably within Q1, Q2? I mean, they're pretty immediate needs, I would assume.
Yeah. I do have one question. I think it's more for Renee. So Renee, in the past, we were given a percentage of money from the Village of Waunakee to use towards, from the ARPA funding. Would this still be the stipulation we're under?
We would have, we would not have to follow that.
Okay.
That the original agreement that we had with you was specific to that. And really the rules kind of loosened up after that first
Mhm.
year, where, the village board really has the discretion. If they wanted to give you a lump sum of $16,000,
Okay,
they could do that. I don't think they would have to specify
okay.
that
good.
percentage again.
Because that was a lot of work.
That was, yes.
I'm like,
in
I'm dreaming
hindsight,
ARPA.
but yeah, we thought we were following the guidance at the time and the guidance
go.
has changed. So
Totally understand.
there's
Okay.
much more discretion now for the board to choose
Okay,
what they want to
good.
give.
So,
So to clarify, these are all immediate needs. and
yes,
In the next several months or whatever they be.
yes, and we just can't afford to move forward because our priority is the food. And these have gone on the back burner and we do have a need and we're just fudging wherever we can fudge it.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sam?
Well, as Nyla so eloquently stated, these funds are for one-time community purposes. From my perspective, I think it makes complete sense to fund the entire amount that the food pantry is asking for in a lump sum, so they can focus on the food.
All right, thank you, Sam. Erin?
Yeah, I'm in support of this. Thank you all for your work and what you do for our community. I think, if this can help lighten your load on making things just more efficient and easier, everyone benefits from the work you do. So I like the idea of like, if we can get a challenge, because if it could spur more donations, but I don't know how that would impact the amount we're giving. Maybe we just try to get more donations because the food pantry could use it. But yeah.
Thank you, Erin. And could I ask you just say a little bit more? I've got a couple of friends who work at food pantries around the state, and I know their needs have gone up tremendously this year, and there have been some changes in funding for families who are on TAMF or I forget what we call it in Wisconsin. It's not aid to families with dependent children. But thank you, Food Share. Thank you very much. Could you just talk a little bit about what you've been facing over the course of this past year?
So about a year ago, last spring in April, Food Share was much larger because of the same type of funding we're talking about through COVID. So it was about $200 extra per family in addition to what their regular amount that they qualified for Food Share would be. Now that 200 is removed, it's as low as $10 to about $50 a month if you qualify. And the threshold for what you can earn a month has gone like a lot lower. So your middle is getting a lot more stuck because they're not quite meeting the lowest of low thresholds, but all of the increase in food and gas and rent is putting a pressure on our families. It's about a year that we've been in our new place, which has been wonderful. I started in September of 21, and we have more than doubled in 2.5 years of how many people we're serving. So when I started in September of 21, it was about 100 families, and now we're 200 to 250 families per month. And then on any given month, it's 600 to 800 people in those families, because it can be a single person up to 7, 8 plus. We are working more closely with social workers, with the village, so that part is a positive. But all your nonprofits are seeing this increase of demand because of the economy and the expenses. And if you're not matching that, you are kind of getting in that middle ground. Our hope is that if you come to the food pantry on a regular basis, that money then can be used towards other expenses like rent, because that's something that's always brought up a lot, but there's not a ton of services that can directly help with that. So if you're utilizing the pantry and you're saving that money, that's our big, when I talk to social workers and to clients and to groups, is to just kind of think of that differently of how you budget your money. And same can be with like clothing and household with our other nonprofits. We're a little bit different from WNC, is that most of our funding is not like solicited or matching, not saying that we can't do that, but it is been around since 1974. The community is really aware of the food pantry. So we do get a lot of $25, $50, $100 donations. We're not getting like big thousands of dollar donations. That's just not how our business model tends to work. So, a 500 is a pretty big donation. And then every once in a while it's above that. But on some situations it could be possible. It's just, we haven't done a lot of flyers. Actually, it was our first time to do this Twice as Nice campaign with WNC. That was kind of our first go at collaborating with them, being upstairs. So that is something we, are open to exploring, but it has not been in the past what has been happening. But the food, like Cheryl said, is our #1 priority, and that budget has gone up. And that's what we want to put in the hands of our clients. So whatever help you can give us would be great.
All right. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate all of the background. Nyla.
I thank you so much for that information. I'm saying this because this is what I hear from residents in town. There are many senior citizens, many people who are service workers and blue collar workers who are really being crunched between the price of housing and transportation and food needs. Every time they go to the grocery store, the prices have gone up. And and then they're hoping that the prices don't go up next week, but they seem to go up. Even if you are very thrifty and make a trip into Madison, that takes transportation. So it eats away at family funds. Everything's very expensive. And so that's why I would like to see us fund the full amount, because as they've said, providing the food is their main goal. That's what they absolutely need to do. But I don't see how they can do it in a efficient way if they don't have these 6 items that are listed here.
All right. I agree with you, Nyla. Would you like to make a motion?
Yes. I would like to move to provide $16,175 to the Waunakee Ecumenical Board Food Pantry. That's it.
Second.
All right.
Can you add the
ARPA funds.
ARPA funds to that?
Yeah. Yes, with the use of ARPA funds. Thank you.
All right.
Could
Thank you.
Can I ask a clarification question?
Yes.
Before-
Yeah.
By making this, are we saying that it has to be used exclusively on this? Because like if they could get one of these items donated, or but I don't want it to take away or preclude them from using the funds in other places. I don't know if that clarification needs to be part of the motion or not.
I would like them to receive the funds, even if they receive a donation other than ours, because it can always go toward food.
Do we need to amend the motion then, Brian?
No, because I don't think you had the specificity in your initial motion, so.
All right. All right.
No.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so thank you all for bringing that up.
Thank you for
Nyla,
coming.
for taking the time to talk about this. Appreciate it very much. Item number 2 is discuss and take action on a resolution terminating tax increment district number 3, and this is page 60 of your packet.
Hi, you guys may recall last May, when you adopted a resolution to extend TID number 3 for 11 months. And we're reaching the end of that time. And we are statutorily required to close TID number 3. So we have secured enough increment to pay the remaining costs of TID 3, and then there's still will be over $500,000 that will go to the affordable housing fund. So again, this is just mostly a formality that the Department of Revenue requires to close it officially.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions on it?
I'll move. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll move to approve tax increment district termination resolution, Village of Waunakee, tax incremental district 3.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Just a quick question. What's the current housing fund balance? Do we know?
Oh, I don't
Sorry,
know that.
I,
That one.
unfair question, never mind.
I looked up several things. That was not one of it.
Okay.
I don't know. We haven't, other than giving the money toward the development by McDonald's, we haven't used anything yet.
Okay.
So I don't remember.
That's fine. That's an unfair question. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking 250.
Yeah,
ish.
several $100,000.
All right. Thank you.
All right, and that's in the Housing Betterment Fund right now. So, all right, any other discussion or questions?
Just a sort of a follow-up. Is there any chance of getting, I guess, some sort of presentation or whatever on what that amount is, and ideally any places that it may have for use in the near future? The second part of that might be a little.
Tim Semen had done some of that at the CDA. I'm not sure if there's any plans to give an update.
We can do that.
Also, it looks like the loan program is going to kick off, so that might be a time to renew that.
Yeah, so we're going to have a discussion about it at the CDA meeting on Wednesday, the 21st, so this coming Wednesday. So I will make sure to get with Renee to get the fund balance on that for part of the update.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, discuss and take action on bids for the 2024 Public Works Improvement Project for Prospect Road.
Okay, in January, we put out for bids the project, Prospect Road and Pleasant Drive reconstruct. We received 4 bids. We opened bids on the 19th of January. Northwestern Stone was our lowest bid at $1,047,586.95. So we are looking for approval to award this bid to Northwestern Stone.
Any discussions or questions? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the award resolution and forward to the village board for final approval.
Or, yeah, I think it should.
Yeah, it's
just be
wrong
approved.
there in the packet,
It's-
yeah.
Yeah.
And read the number.
Oh, okay. To approve the award resolution in the amount of $1,047,586.95. And this is for Prospect Road.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Item number 4, discuss and take action on bids for the 2024 Public Works Improvement Project on South Street.
Pretty much the same thing as Prospect. We put this out for bid in January, and on the 23rd of January, we opened bids. We actually received 5 bids on this project. Again, bids were great, and Northwestern Stone again was low bid at $956,757.25. And therefore, we're looking, I guess, to award Northwestern Stone the bid.
Right, any questions?
I'll move to approve the award resolution in the amount of $956,757.25.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and I apologize. I did not ask if there was discussion on the motion, but we passed it.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. Next item on the agenda, discuss and take action on the creation of a clerk department LTE position to provide election staff support. This is page 73 of the packet. And to you, Carla.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's an election year. It's a big election year and we're already seeing the workload increase. So to afford Lynn and I time to do our other clerk duties, we would like to have somebody in the office that we can have trained and have access to do the stuff through the WIS vote system. So we're looking for somebody more permanent part-time.
Excellent. Any questions?
To be clear, not permanent part-time, it's an LT position, which
LT
doesn't mean that it's
for
permanent.
year 2024, we'd like them to be here a little more often than what we can afford for the poll workers to be here. That's what I meant to say, sorry.
All right, I got it. So, all right, other comments, questions? Anyone?
I'd move to approve the creation of a clerk department LT position to provide election staff support at step 11 of grade H4 on the wage scale to be effective through 2024.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
It's going to be a busy year. Yeah. Next item, discuss and take action on requests for tax incremental financing assistance, TID 10 from MLG Investments, 2000 LLC and Waunakee Hotel LLC, and potential terms and conditions of a related development / public improvement agreement. This is page 64, and the village board may convene in closed session as authorized by Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting others specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons may require a closed session. The village board may reconvene in open session and discuss and take action on the subject matter discussed in closed session, but I believe we're introducing it first in public session.
Sure. Yeah. So if you recall, a number of weeks back or a month or so back, the village board voted to create TID 10, which was then acted upon by the joint review board. And in fact, TID 10 was created. I think the village board was pretty clear when it made its motion that just because it was creating the TID didn't necessarily mean that it was going to provide any, increment to development, and you don't have to. I mean, it's, every time you adopt a project plan or create a TID, that doesn't mean you have to spend the money. But I think you did it with the anticipation of maybe we will. We've now received, I would say, 2 requests for utilization of increment that would ultimately be created within TID 10. One is for a potential hotel. I would characterize that as more of kind of a development incentive increment created by the specific parcel. So a standard pay-go agreement. We've done these in the past. Renew Air, for example, is a parcel specific agreement and when they made a request. The request from MLG is a little bit broader. I think it relates more to public improvements. If you recall, within the project plan, certainly there are certain public improvements that are identified as potential project costs. One of them is the extension of Frank H. where it dead ends now to Hogan Road, and then potentially an intersection at Hogan Road and Frank H. Street. Another public improvement that's identified as a potential project cost in the TID is the intersection between Hogan Road and State Highway. So, I mean, I think what what staff would like to do is, we believe we need to get back to the developers with feedback from the board. What we would like to talk in closed session, it would be specifically to potentially terms and conditions within agreements. Certainly willing to try to answer any questions that you may have if you want to have a discussion in open session. But again, it does relate, our conversation is specifically going to be related to terms and conditions that they've offered, and we have some thoughts on those, and then we need to get feedback from you. There's not any agreements before you tonight. You're not making any final decisions. likely, I mean, you do have the discretion. I mean, it's a wide spectrum. It's no, we're not giving you anything. On the other side is what they want. And then usually there's something in the middle. You could say no tonight if you wanted to. You definitely have that discretion. But again, that's something we would like to talk a little bit more detail in closed session.
All right. Does anyone have any comments prior to
Yeah.
entertaining the idea?
Because I don't believe that this has to do with the terms and conditions negotiated or our position. How much are they asking for the hotel project?
I believe the request for the hotel project is $1.4 million as a pay-go. So and what they're suggesting is that they've run the numbers, and if they do development, then the increment that's going to be generated from the project would ultimately pay them back. My guess is it's close to 100%, but I don't think, we haven't done the analysis at a staff level to react to that at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments before we entertain going into closed session? All right. Seeing no other questions, I will move to convene in closed session as authorized by Wisconsin State Statute 19.851E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The village board may reconvene in open session and discuss and take action on the subject matter discussed in closed session. Read the request for tax incremental financing assistance TID 10 from MLG Investments 2000 LLC and Waunakee Hotel LLC and potential terms and conditions of related development and public improvement agreements.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we do a roll call vote for this.
Yes. Nyla Fry,
Yes.
Trisha Brown,
Yes.
Sam Kaufman.
Yes.
Kristen Rungy.
Yes.
Aaron Moran,
Yes.
Joe Zitzelsberger,
Yes.
and Robert McPherson.
Yes.
All right. We will go into closed session at 6:42 once the room is cleared. Fiona?